Hey, you. Wow. I am recording this podcast in video. This has been, yeah, some shift that I wanted to make because there's a transmission through the voice, but there's also a transmission through the person, through the vessel, and the expressions of a face and everything about that. But I have taken some time to do it because um, I was a little nervous. Basically, I started this podcast recording audio, talking to you as if I was talking to a friend on a WhatsApp voice note. And this to me was extremely natural and it felt very pure because I could speak only from my heart. I didn't have to look at my own reflection in a camera or be disturbed by the image and the aesthetic of that. So I could go directly in the core and in the heart. But yeah, the guidance now and the invitation is calling for this. So I'm making the effort and I'm trying this thing where I get to that same pure place, even though I see myself in a reflection and even though there is the aesthetic part. So care a little bit less of the aesthetic while it's still a part of it. So, hey, friend, I'm so happy to meet you here. And this is the first of probably a long line of many episodes because if you have listened to the podcast episode from before, life is a blessing and life is blessing me and all of us with many, many stories of miracles, beauty, synchronicities, and expansion every time we say yes to it, every time we surrender to it. And I've been doing that for a few years now. So I have beautiful stories that I want to share with you in honor of life, but also in the true hope and heart desire to inspire you to say yes, to take the leap of faith and to go for the unknown and the mystery because it holds so much beauty and wow, infinite, yeah, expansion and grace for you, for your life. So I started this season again a couple episodes ago where I was continuing to tell you about this journey with my Kundalini awakening and this calling within of this frequency asking me to transmit it and then starting this path as a facilitator for the highest light, for life force energy. So I've shared a little bit about that, and today I want to share more about the divine assignments that found me and that I have found on my path. Because we all receive those, especially when we start opening to our service, to our purpose, and we start saying yes to the higher guidance to serve more in a surrendered way. And so we're going to receive more and more of those assignments. So over the years, this is what happens for me. Yeah, I'm right now acknowledging that you can see the incredible wings behind me of my beloved Isis. So I just want to honor her and show her fully on the camera because she is a gem, a beautiful, beautiful artist in Ubud, Bali, had it carved it for me. So yeah, it's very precious. She is a temple of her own and she will be guiding and supporting all of these episodes for me to share in the purest way whatever messages that you need to hear through these stories and through anything that might come out of my mouth. So let's go. As you know, I have found my path. So I think, 3 years ago now, I started this journey with Kundalini Activation, Kundalini Awakening, which is more life force activation and awakening. If some of you have read my book, I talk a lot about this. But yeah, I found this path, or this path finally found me. There was a full remembrance of my soul and my priestess work through this transmission and what I am meant to be doing here on earth and how I'm meant to serve humanity in our big awakening right now. So yeah, starting this path of facilitating this frequency after I have lived my first training and embodied this frequency for 6 months. I was giving it, opening those portal sessions for people intuitively for several months. And then I received the training myself from people that were already a little bit ahead on the path than me. And that really helped me anchor myself, especially my legitimacy and the confidence that I had in this path. And so after the training, I started to give sessions to many, many people. It became my entire life and my dedication. So daily devotion was to open a portal for people. And the magnetism, the magnetic energy from the alignment with this very deep design that is in my own blueprint, because it was so aligned, the energy of me carrying this frequency became very magnetic, and many people would reach out in person, online, whether I was in France, in Bali, and they would want to come and receive and open up to this frequency. So I started to give session almost, practically daily, at least 5 times a week. And this became my own incubator, my own lab, where I would discover more and more about this energy and especially this transmission portal, because it's very unique. And by the time 3 years ago, there was not a lot of information out there. And the facilitators like me and the ones who trained me, we didn't have so much information or understanding about it. We only had absolute trust and divine surrender and this guidance, this thing that is completely unseen beyond the mind, in the heart and in our energy, opening our bodies to the divine embodied. We only had that to guide us, and that was more than enough. But of course, through the sessions and all the experience that I could see people receiving this frequency and all their unique journeys and everything that was happening there, and the feedbacks, and then the integration and the discomforts and the blissful stuff, the movements, and then the inner journeys, all of it allowed me to dive deeper into experimenting with it and actually getting more understanding of what are we doing here. So yeah, I basically spent a year like this, a little bit less actually, a year like, maybe 8 months of just sessions, many people diving or bathing, rather, bathing in divine bliss constantly, and seeing people open up to this essence within them and resonating. And together we would create these very mystical, powerful experiences of ourselves and true remembrance of multidimensional presence, divine realms, and the interconnection with everything. But this would be through the body. It wouldn't be through a book or a conversation or even planned ceremonies. It would be through the body and our own energy, opening up those realms within. So that was groundbreaking. And every session, every aspect that people would express through their energy as they surrendered would teach me and us something new. So I discovered that there's an infinity of things that we can live during the session. There's also incredible moments of resonance between two people, whether it's two people laying and participating on the mat, or the facilitator and a person. Sometimes we have such a deep soul resonance and recognition that something even beyond is happening. There's a synchrony, a synchronicity, and this, I will make an episode just for this, because I have a few stories of crazy merging with people, and I want to honor them. So yeah, I'll talk more about that later. But just to paint a picture about this evolution, as you know, I was following the divine surrender, divine guidance, and the more I did, the more it started to evolve. And so very rapidly, after a few months of all these experiences, the guidance, as it had led me to this awakening in myself, and then this facilitation for others, and then this devotion into the facilitation, and then the experimentation, then led me to open up a whole new space. It started with a retreat. I was called to guide a retreat in Ubud, Bali. And it was the first time that I was holding space in this way on several days together with a group alone. And so I had an angel assistant with me, a dear friend, Leah. But yeah, it was the first time that I was opening that space, and it felt completely right. And it was so beautiful to see what the frequency is doing when it has more space to work with a person. Because basically, in every session or every retreat or other spaces, the frequency is a higher consciousness, and it knows exactly what it can do and what it wants to do with every person present. So if you open a space for 2 hours transmission, there will be a full story here, a beginning, a journey, and an ending in 2 hours. What I discovered during the retreat is that if you open a space for 3 days, the frequency knows that. And so it will write the story with every people, starting day one, the beginning of the story, the whole journey throughout all the days, and the completion will come later on day three. So I saw there how, first of all, this frequency is acting in this way with a certain rhythm and a completion cycle that is incredibly intelligent, way beyond my own intention as the space holder and the portal opener. This is beyond me. I could not plan this, yet I will see that in every people present, they were guided on a very specific journey. And throughout the days, it was going deeper, opening more, and even though it was sometimes difficult or discomfort or any of those things happening because the energy is healing so much inside of them, by the end of the journey, at the end of the retreat, the things would complete and the shift would be made. And so I saw how much deeper you can go, and how receiving more and more activations during one day, several days together, is very beneficial. Because again, you dive deeper into those realms, you release even more blocks, and you discover more of yourself. So the healing journey that is happening, the transcendent journey that is happening, is faster, further, in quite a short amount of time. And I also acknowledged then that there was an integration already happening during the activation and during the retreat. So that was very special. And also for me, on a personal level, wow, that retreat, that first one, was such a success. Everyone was so in awe of the space, of the teachings, and of course, everything that they were receiving in the transmission. So for me, it was a great confirmation that, okay, this is also where I belong. I am meant to teach, I am meant to guide people into these bigger journeys. And yeah, it was very beautiful. And I didn't know, really, I didn't know at this time that this was the beginning of something much, much bigger. But again, all of these stories, all of my path that I'm sharing here, I did not control. I did not envision it and plan it on a board, even though I love to do that sometimes. I did not do that. I was just allowing the unfolding. And there's a big value here in what I share about that, because there is a natural, higher, and beautiful unfolding for your soul on earth. You came here with a sacred purpose, many divine assignments, many beautiful missions that you have to complete. And if you truly believe in that, if you truly believe in the miracle and the infinite rather than the limit and the known and the past, basically, if you believe in the bright future and you decide to surrender to that, then you can trust the magical unfolding to reveal every new level of your life, every new thing that you're supposed to embody and to go to. So this is what happened there in this retreat. It was so beautiful, and I felt really fulfilled and complete on a soul level to serve these people in that way, and seeing how they felt complete and whole at the end of the weekend retreat. Actually, it was 5 days. At the end of the retreat, seeing how they were feeling so whole. Wow, there was something there. I didn't know it, but it was buzzing inside of me, and I just trusted. So, yeah, a few months later, I am in Europe, and by a series of synchronicities, a friend at the time that I felt was very resonating with this path, she actually started the sessions with me, the way I started them a year before or 8 months before. So I was visiting her in Mallorca, and I was offering her and her friends a session on a rooftop at sunset. It was really beautiful. And the resonance, like I said, sometimes in sessions, there's a certain resonance with souls that is undeniable and that means something. So this was the case with this person. Our energy was resonating in the most incredible way. It's like our two bodies were activating and amplifying each other and opening up a whole new portal. And when we would both be surrendered in the frequency, but our movements would be the same, our codes coming would be the same. It was a mirror of that expansion. It was so profound. And so she was a very good friend at the time. And yeah, me, myself, being devoted to this path and just devoted to the unfolding that was happening, I wanted to give her this initiation, but I had no idea how. I just told her one day, we were talking on a couch, and I was like, I feel like you should be facilitating this frequency. And I feel like I should be giving you this initiation for you to facilitate this frequency. And she felt exactly the same way. So in that moment, it was like, we finally voiced together what was already here present in our hearts and in the field. So she was like, I know it's possible, and I know you should be giving it to me. And so one thing led to another, because I had no idea how to do this, the way to do it, especially with her alone. Like, I don't know. One thing led to another. The month later, it was August 2022, I think. She was in a house in Mallorca, a very big house that could host something like that, such a journey. And so I cannot even tell you all the details of what happened, but basically, suddenly I had 4 people ready to receive this initiation that I felt very aligned with. And I had this venue that was already prepared and waiting for it to be done. And everything was basically just taken care of. And I just needed to show up for it and surrender to this new level of initiation for me, but mostly for them. And so I needed to show up as a trainer, a teacher, and a guide, activating them into this powerful frequency so that they too embody the frequency and can facilitate this energy. So this is how I landed in my first training ever, the first I led. And wow. Let me tell you, the level of magic that happened there was way beyond anything that I have lived before. And you know now that we have experienced the magic. But this was a whole new level, and the level of surrender too, because here I was just opening this new portal in not knowing with my head, not having this experience before, but the knowing in my heart was like no other. I remember prior, I had, I think, a month before this training started. In the moment it happened in the quantum, and it landed in my head and the head of my friend. And the moment that it started, we had a month. During that month, wow, everything happened. My masculine came strong to prepare all the details so that people are taken care of. The food is there. They have the training material, all the stuff that I had learned. I had to put in some kind of shape for them to have that material, and then for me to prepare the mystical journey. Because during the training, we don't really go into theory. We go into the mystical and just absolute surrender of the mind. So we stay in the frequency. So I had to prepare all of this. And at the same time, I was being prepared for the whole month. I even went to Bali for 1 week to live a similar experience that actually prepared me for it, which I had no idea of. But everything was made for me to arrive to that training in the most certain place I had ever been. I arrived to the deepest or highest unknown stuff of my life. And I was the most certain ever. There was no knowledge in the mind, but the pure knowing in the heart. I was so in my place. I knew exactly that every gesture, every movement, every word, every situation that I would create every day for the people, it was completely divinely guided. This was a knowing. And yeah, I can tell you that this is exactly what happened. That week was everything. It was a lot. It was all the light, all the dark, everything exploring. But mostly, what I just want to share here is that what happened in those four souls, those four beings, for me to witness, it was everything to me. It meant the world. Because by the end of those 5 days, they were all embodying this frequency, and they were all facilitating sessions with this energy in full surrender, in the most heartful way. That for me was all that I needed to know that, wow, okay, this is real. This actually worked. And this is the beauty that I was ever meant to serve and to create, to co-create. So, yeah, by the end of the training, it was not like all ease and grace. There was a lot of challenges for me, for everyone coming. We could see that the energy was working very deeply into many layers to actually prepare all of us to embody this next phase and this new level of facilitation for them, but also for me, facilitating facilitators. And by the end of it, there was a full completion. There was something even more magical than before. A few people, I think 10 people from the outside came at the end of the training, and they could receive the session from the new facilitators. And this, for me, I was in the background, just holding the space that they were holding, and more so, I was witnessing. And this is where I felt the interdimensional realms that we all had opened together, and all the things that was weaving in those realms, and all the healing parts, and all the hardships, and all the incredible blissful activations and awakening in them, in their souls, and with these energies, and kind of like the coming together. And I would see them in their most beautiful form, surrendered to their divine essence, holding the space to all these people that were resonating and receiving this frequency and activating themselves. And so in that moment, witnessing those new facilitators holding the space with so much wisdom, loving power, and really this loving awareness, I would say, this reverence and honor to the frequency that we're all channeling and holding. In that moment, I felt like, okay, this is my path. This is where I belong. And everything became very clear. And so I want to share something about the month ahead of that, because I felt like, okay, in this almost year, I learned so many things that I've never heard elsewhere. I've never heard in a training. I've never read somewhere. So I had gathered all this information of knowledge and theory, and really this more grounded information about this process. And I wanted to give it to them. So in the 1 month before the training started, I wanted to get the theory somewhere. So when we arrive in the training, we focus on the energy and we just bathe in it, and the initiation happens there. But we don't need to take care of the theory. It's done before, and then after for them in the integration, they can soak it in. So I had a few ideas of how that was possible to give. And I had created online courses before. So my first idea was, okay, I'm just going to make videos and tell them all about it. But then something came stronger, something I had never done before. A book. A book came very strong. I was like, actually, there's so much information. I love writing. I love writing posts, and I don't know what craziness came into my mind in that moment, but I decided to write a book. I thought, okay, it's going to be maybe 100-page, 150-page, easy. And at the time, ChatGPT was already a thing. So I was like, okay, I have already, because I write a lot for myself, I had a lot of writings about everything of my discovery. So I had like chunks here, PDFs there, all the stuff that I had written over the years about divine embodiment, sacred wisdom, but now this frequency and all the experiences, nervous system, trauma-informed approach, all the things that I had explored. I had so many pieces. And so with the chat, I was like, okay, I had 1 week actually, because I was very busy in that month of preparation. I had 1 week to write this book so then I could print it and get it for them. So in 1 week, day and night, honestly, day and night, I would just write. And ChatGPT would help me to put in together all the pieces. So in 1 week, we wrote a book, and it was a 250-page book of all the theory that I learned, and that was the first version of the one that I actually published today. But this is for another time. Whoa. Just taking a breath here. Yeah. It was very special for me to create all of this, to allow myself to be infused and motivated out of the roof by this opportunity and this invitation, which was a divine assignment. All of it, all these ideas and insights, all these projects that we feel called to open up and birth, all of it are divine assignments from our soul, from our path, from the goddess, the divine. When we say yes to it, we keep opening more doors to more magic to unfold. And this one training that I just told you about was the beginning of everything. And when I say everything, it's things that I could not even imagine with the mind, I could not know before. It's like breaking the limits of what is possible, what has been possible, and actually going beyond that, and actually going into the miracle together. So that was the first opening of that. And the book was too. I didn't know either. After this training, I was, of course, very certain of my purpose and very certain that I needed to open more of these spaces, because I could see that the way I am sharing this frequency is in absolute reverence and honor. And at the same time, I want to share a lot of the wisdom that I have received myself. And this devotional act and this transmission of the devotional presence and the devotional action through the facilitation, through the embodiment of this role, this is making a difference in people's lives. And this is why people are actually being called to work with me, because they feel a very unique frequency that I carry, and they resonate with it. And so I started to see this unicity in myself and in the way that I carry this wisdom and this training initiation. And so later on, I would discover more about this unique frequency, and I will tell you about it, of course. But I think it's important here to say something about that, because in all this experience, and I think I maybe mentioned this before in other podcasts, but I discovered that as facilitators, and of course as humans, but I'm talking here precisely about this process, Kundalini activation, life force activation, all these things. Facilitators, even though we are surrendering to the same pure feminine divine energy, Shakti, Kundalini, life force, prana, we're surrendering to the same consciousness energy here. But we each have a unique signature. We have a unique imprint that when we surrender, this imprint is known. It is creating a certain ripple, a certain template of that same frequency. This signature is very important because it is to say that even though we sometimes feel inspired and we resonate with each other, it's so important to follow your own guidance, to trust and to honor your own natural imprint. This is all a higher service we're doing here, and it's all about the unity consciousness. But if something is very alive right now in my conscious awareness, is that in true unity, there must be unicity. Because the moment we are authentically embodying who we are, is the moment that the ego has no game on us. It does not need to try to validate itself or to get recognition here or to be better than or to reach this in order to be that. No, the moment you actually acknowledge your unique presence and unique vibration is the moment that you can stop worrying about anything identity related, because you already are grounded in the truth of yourself. So your service becomes extremely authentic and unique. And this is where we start sharing together and amplifying each other. This is where we start actually serving more and more people in the right way. So embodying your true essence, discovering it, discovering your true signature, and then embodying it. Asking the guidance for your own path. I'm saying this because there is like a thin line between being so inspired and resonating and actually trying to copy or to replicate. I'm sure we have all experienced this in life in different ways and can see the taste and the flavor of that certain frequency of replication. And it's coming from a place of not trusting ourselves, not knowing ourselves, and not trusting in the magic that we actually hold. So I'm saying this to really empower you in knowing that the more you're going to listen within, while being amplified by your peers and all the people inspiring you, the more you're going to create from that place within, the higher your service will be, the bigger your impact will be. And we need your unique light. Just like I understood that I needed to really allow my unicity in this realm, in this field, because this is what will allow very specific people to resonate and to remember important part of themselves. And so for you, it's the same. If you truly, truly honor what is so unique about you, and then allow that to unfold naturally in your path as a facilitator, as a light worker, whatever service you're doing in the world, you will help so many people to remember those same pieces and to remember more of that, more of themselves. So yeah, it's like this that we kind of ignite each other and amplify the divine pieces of our souls. And it is this way that we truly remember who we are right here, right now, in this plane of existence, all together. And so there's so much to share about this unity and unicity and how we actually amplify each other. And I will talk more about this. But yeah, for now, I just want to say that more trainings came after that. I was guided to hold trainings in Bali, in Egypt as well. And what happened in Egypt was something that again opened up a whole new way of experiencing this frequency. And for me to lead the journeys, for people to remember these higher parts of themselves, it has a lot to do with the priestess work that I was initiated in. And so all of these stories I want to share and take the time for it. But yeah, I think this is complete for now. I hope you find some beauty, some wisdom, or some inspiration, some hope for you. If you have any questions, if you have things that you want to share, yeah, please just reach out. Reach out to me on my Instagram, Sophie Sun, or my website, or anywhere else. I would love to dive deeper into all of these topics and yeah, connect with more of you. I'm sending you a lot of love. I hope that, yeah, you really can relax in the knowing that you are so perfect, you're whole, and you matter so much. Your existence here is not random. There's some things very, very important that you are giving through your own presence and through every creation that you decide to birth. So listen to the guidance, ask about your journey, about your path, about what you're meant to do here, what you're meant to create. Ask your guides, ask your life force energy, ask your heart to show you what is the next step. And when you're being shown it, when you're being shown what it is, please say yes. Go all the way, even if you don't know what it's going to look like, even if you have no idea if you can pull this off, even if you don't know how you're going to make it. Just do it. You will be taken care of. You will be guided every step of the way for you to be able to show up for it, to create it, to be in the right space to do the thing. So whatever the thing is for you, just trust you will be prepared the moment you say yes to it. You open that timeline, you open that portal, and then there's an infinite amount of light beings and light consciousness that is waiting for that yes, that opening of timeline and reality to flow through you and to guide you on the path so that you are perfectly in the right place for it. I love you so much, and I wish you a wonderful day, night, and week ahead.